So our veal's cooking up really nice in here. As you can see, it's starting to brown. And look at all the juice from all the different meats. That's just going to give some amazing flavor to our Sunday gravy. This is going to be one spectacular gravy. Okay, our veal's cooked up really nice in here. So what we're going to do is we're just going to take the veal and we're going to dump it right into our bowl with all of our meat. Have all the juices come out. Look at that. It looks amazing. Alright, so our pot is now empty, and our next phase for the Sunday gravy is we're going to start off with a little bit of garlic and onion. So I have 1 chopped onion, and I have 4 cloves of garlic minced. So we're going to come back to our olive oil. We're just going to put another 2 teaspoons into the pot, and we'll put in the onion, and we'll put in our garlic, and now we're going to let this brown. It's going to smell really good. Okay, so we have our onion and our garlic sauteing in this pan. It smells amazing. We just want to keep stirring it and getting it just slightly brown.
So what temperature are you cooking this on?
Right now we're cooking on medium-high, and I like to cook on that heat just to kick things off. And once we actually pour all the tomatoes in here, we're going to bring it down to a medium. So now that we have our onion and garlic browning, our next phase we're going to do is we're going to grab our tomato paste, and we're going to put the whole can of tomatoes, the tomato paste, inside the pot. Once we get all the tomato paste out of the can and into the pot, we're going to add a little bit of water. So I'm just going to take this, and we're going to fill it up with water, and pour it directly into the pan. Grab your wooden spoon, we're just going to stir it around. And this will be the basis for the sauce. Okay? And we just want to cook this for about 30 seconds. Okay, once our tomato paste is cooked, next thing we're going to do is we're going to start pouring in the tomatoes. So, I have one can already lightly chopped. A little tip for you, tilt the pan slightly, because if you just try to pour this into the pot, it's going to splatter everywhere. So I like to tilt the pan, pour it directly into the pot. Okay. And now we're going to do that with the rest of the tomato cans. Actually, this works well too. Tipping. So, now let's chop these up and get the rest of these cans into our pot.
So how come you use canned tomatoes instead of fresh?
Well, fresh tomatoes definitely taste better. The reason why I like to use canned tomatoes is because it's easy. If you get fresh tomatoes, then you're going to have to blanch them and make sure you pull out all the seeds, and it's just a real pain to do. So if you have all day Sunday to use fresh tomatoes, then definitely use them. But canned tomatoes just make it nice and convenient for you.
I'd imagine here in Washington State it's difficult to get fresh tomatoes at the right time.
Yeah, definitely.
As well.
My parents actually had a garden in their backyard, and we grow tomatoes and cucumbers and all these things, and my mom definitely likes to use fresh tomatoes, but as I said, when you're busy, canned tomatoes are definitely the way to go.
Definitely.
So we just put all the tomatoes inside the pot, and now we're going to add our seasoning. So I'm actually half Italian, and the other half is just a mix of other stuff, and as my mom likes to say, like a pot of sauce, a little bit of this and a little bit of that. So people, when they make their sauces, they tend to throw in all kinds of spices and seasoning, like garlic powder, oregano. Some people like to use Mrs. Dash. It's got a whole bunch of different spices in it, salt, pepper. Because we are using meat as a basis for this gravy, we don't really need to spice it up too much. So here are the spices we have. We have we have 3 basil leaves that chopped finely. We're just going to throw those right into the pot. And we have basically a bunch of parsley. I'd say it's about 3 tablespoons that we're just going to pour right in. And we have 2 tablespoons of sugar. Pour into the pot. And lastly, we're going to use some red wine. Any red wine will do, because it's actually going to boil off. So we put in 1/2 cup of red wine.
It's starting to smell really good.
Yeah. And now we stir it up. So once all the ingredients are in the pot, we're just going to stir it up pretty nice. And we're going to add our meat. We're just going to take the whole bowl and we're just going to dump it into the pot. Look at all the juices. Everything. We'll just pour all of it in. Nice and slow so it doesn't splatter everywhere. That's it. Push everything down and stir it up. This is going to be good. That's it. That is your red sauce. So we're just going to throw this on medium heat and we're going to let it simmer for 2 hours. We don't want the sauce to actually bubble or boil, so if it does start to do that, just turn it down slightly. You want it to simmer for about 2 hours so the tomatoes can absorb all the spices and absorb all the flavor from the meat and get the meat nice and tender. And one sign that you can use to see if the sauce is ready to go is if those pieces of veal that we put into the sauce has started to shred into tomatoes. And that's it, Kim.
Excellent. So you just left the pork right on the bones.
Yep.
Still?
Yeah, and depending on how long you actually let it simmer for, I recommend 2 hours, but you can go longer. The meat should actually start to fall off the bone. So when you're ready to serve it, it's up to you if you want to actually pull the bones out or just serve the whole thing. I tend to scoop out all the meat out of the pot before I use the tomato sauce for anything. So if you were going to make any pasta, or if you're going to make lasagna or manigot or stuffed shells, I tend to pull the meat out first and then use the remainder for whatever dish that you're going to use it for. Also, I grab a nice serving plate and I put all the meat on the serving plate and serve that as a side to whatever you're going to be making with this Sunday gravy.
Excellent. So what are your favorite uses for Sunday gravy?
It all depends on how many people I'm going to have at my house for dinner. So you can use this for baked ziti, you can use this for manigot, for stuffed shells, and even just plain pasta. Grab your favorite pasta and put this right on top, and it's going to have a lot of great flavor and it's going to taste really, really good.
Well, sounds delicious. We'll definitely have to put up a bunch of those recipe uses for it on our website.
Yeah.
So everyone can go to buildingblockshow.com and check out the recipe for Sunday gravy and a bunch of more of Vinny's great Italian recipes.